I'm just like you guys. When I start to do a job, it usually ends up getting sidetracked to do something completely different. So I said yesterday I was going to do the fuel pump and things like this, make sure that's working the right way around, and I got a little bit sidetracked and I ended up doing the brakes. But before that, something cheered us up last week, and I haven't got round to doing a video suitable to put it in, but Mel from the UK sent me a couple of t-shirts. These cheered me up no end. You see that? Hey! So I'm going to keep that one for best, and I'll put it on down there a bit. But I did see something that really cheered us up. What do you think of that? That's got me down to a T. Thanks for that, Mel. It was a bit small, but I'll grow into it. As if. So, what was my problems on this car? No, that was really funny, was that t-shirt. It was really good. What was the problem on that car? Well, this has got ABS. It hasn't got because it's got traction control and all the fancy bits and pieces. And it didn't have all the system was drained. And I'd never driven this car or anything. We'd never done anything to it. And he's 30 years old. So I had to bleed out the ABS. What a pain in the bottom. Now, I wasn't really familiar on doing a dry bleed on an ABS system, you know, where there was nothing in it. So I banged on all the calipers, I put the pads in, because obviously to move this car around, I knew it was going to be stored over winter, and I didn't want the pads sticking to the discs, if you see what I mean. So I put them all in yesterday, tried to bleed it out, and it was an absolute disaster. I got the backs bled through, and I got the front half bled through, but it just wouldn't go through to the top, because if you remember, these calipers have got 3 bleed screws on, and I couldn't work out why I couldn't get fluid through. So I'm going to tackle that later. But first of all, something that might be upsetting the system is I forgot to put this switch on. Now this switch is really important sort of on automatics, because it's not only the brake light switch, it's it controls your shift neutral position, so you can actually move your automatic shifter. Needs this. Now beware when you want to take these out, they are so fragile and so easy to break. You see there's a collar. What you've got to do is slide that collar right far forward, and that will allow these little tangs here, see these ones here, to go in, because if that's down there, it's like a locking ring, you can't get it out. It's a good idea, but if you're not familiar, you'll pull them out and break them, which is what happened to that one. And also we've got this to fit. Now this shouldn't really interfere with the brakes, because this is the shut-off for the cruise control. So when you're driving along and you press your brake, it'll dump the vacuum out and stop the automatic, whatever you call it, the cruise control working. I don't know, another gimmick that hardly anybody ever uses round here. Now, talking about brakes, I was quite lucky to have in my armoury perhaps one of the luckiest books to find. This is the 1990 to 94 petrol and diesel Range Rover official workshop manual. Now I haven't found this on PDF form. I've been looking for it all over, but I've got a hard copy, and it's a brilliant book because it seems to go into a lot more detail than some of the workshop manuals, and it covers everything. The LT77S, which I'm messing about putting back together, the VM engine, the Borg Warner transfer case, everything. It's even got a really good detailed 200 TDI. But you can see I've got a piece of paper in there. This is marking out the procedure for bleeding the brakes. Now, what am I banging on about? Well, I've got my car on the lift, but it's asking us to turn the ignition on so the pump will work. No big deal. But you've got to also turn the ignition on with a conjunction of pressing the pedal at the same time. Now, is that pressing of the pedal to open the valves in the ABS unit? I don't know. Or is it pressing the pedal to put a signal into the system from the brake light switch to tell you that the brakes are on, so the valves will move around. I don't know. I've never done them for like 20 years, so I'm a bit rusty on that. But the problem with this car is, because it's on my 2-post lift, I can't get the bloody doors open to get in, so I'm there using a brush shaft trying to press the brake pedal. So what I'm going to think about doing is, I'm going to do my tinkery around jobs today. I've got the mud flap brackets on, no mud flaps. What else? Yeah, I'm going to do the tank, sort that out at the back end, break, you know, like the fuel gauge, make sure that's working. And then I'm going to drop it on its wheels and push it back. Well, I'm going to have to dump all the fluid out and start again to release the pressure on the brakes, because they've locked up at the moment. And then push it back, put it on axle stands and work out this system so I can get the door open. What a mess about. I don't think people realise what a mess about we have. After that, not too bad. Again, we're getting stuck for parts, but I've got to order that new shaft for that LT77S. And that's all stripped down on my bench, so I want my bench back. So I'm going to have to bite the bullet and buy a shaft, because if I put it back in the box, I'll forget how it goes back together. Apart from that, we're getting there. I didn't realise how far I'd got on with this job until I dug into it yesterday. I haven't done any sort of real in-depth videos on stuff, because it's really sort of like putting brake pads in, and that's really, really easy. We've already done it. I'm in a bit of a dilemma with this fuel pump. I've seen somebody's changed all the filters and things like this, and I think somebody's put a new pump in before. But obviously it was not, well, I say new, it could have been any time really. But what I've done is I've rigged up the camera here, and I've taken off the filter. This filter goes, you know, from the pump through the filter to the front of the car. But I've got a sneaking feeling there's no fuel coming through it, and I still can't work out which way it's positive and negative. When it's running silent, it sounds like it's the pump mode, not going backwards, if you see what I mean. It's a cracker's idea. I don't know why they didn't put a diode in it. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my power probe at the other side to put some power into the pump and watch what happens and listen to the noise. Right, so this is going to be one way. See, that sounds normal to me. It's not pumping. But if I put it the other way, that doesn't sound right at all. It doesn't sound right at all, does it? And you know the worst thing about this, because this has got a tin tank in, there's no hole in the floor to take the pump out. Going back to this here, so I had a word with the owner. We agreed to cut a hole in the floor. Now I've piped up all the fittings and the hoses and stuff like this, but I'm sort of very reluctant to think of it. Well, I'm not reluctant to do it, I'm just trying to think of a safe way to do it so it doesn't go bang. I don't like pet roast too much, but somebody's got to do it. But all I'm going to do is cut. I'm not going to cut a hole, it'll take too long. What's the point? I'm just going to cut a square, and then I'm going to make a piece of steel, and we're going to pop rivet it over the top and fill the corrugations in with silicone. That's all we can do, because it's such, you know what Land Rovers are like. You know, if I put a cheap pump in there, you know it's going to go. So the other thing is, what's really puzzling me is with this job is when I try to suck fuel through with a good pump, it still doesn't work. So there's something wrong somewhere. Is the pickup too low? Have they got the pipes on the right way around? I don't know. So I'm going to cut it. I'm going to try an air chisel and see if I can get through it with an air chisel. Safe, isn't it? Well, the hole ain't too pretty, but it's right on top of the tank where we want to be. If you've ever used an air chisel like this, they've got an absolute mind of their own where they want to go, especially if you're cutting through thin stuff. And because I was cutting through corrugated, it was any man's guess where it was going to go. But we're right on top of the thing, so we can actually get that sender out, because I actually have a pump, I hope. So I might as well do this with you real time. Let's have a look at this thing. Don't get too excited about me cutting. The thing was, I didn't want to use the grinder for sparks. This has got red silicone all over the place. Now this is the pump that I think might fit that one there. Where are you? There you are. Let's see. Couldn't have put a smaller hole in this bloody thing. No, there we go. Well, there it is. What on earth is this thing here? They've had some struggling getting that through there. Look at all that silicone on there. What's this thing? What's this doing here? You know, they're almost the same length. But you see, this hasn't got a box. I don't know what the hell this is off. Would this be enough to power up the sorry, come down here a bit, I'm having to stretch out there. I know this isn't off a 90. I know this is off a 90 because I had to buy one for a 90. But the pump's bigger, but the height's exactly the same. Sorry, I'm just thinking to myself there. I'm just trying to work out what... I mean, is it going to put out enough pressure or volume? I don't know. There's fuel in there. I wonder if I should just try it. I wonder if I should try it and see if I can get any fuel pressure. And if I try and get fuel pressure, I'll have a look in the book and to see what the fuel pressure actually should be. Well, that'd be easy, wouldn't it? But first of all, we've got to find a proper gasket for that. Now, knowing Land Rover as I do, they wouldn't have changed the gasket on anything. It's the same gasket in all cars with that same type of flange. You know, instead of making the hole bigger, well, no, we'll keep, because we've made 10 million of these gaskets, we've got to use them up. So they make the pumps fit the hole. Mentality. So I've got the power probe on. Nothing. Well, it's pumping. But it's not cutting off. It's not bumping up to pressure. I wonder if I got the wires on the right way around. Well, that doesn't sound right, does it? me back off some of these screws on here and see if there's any petrol coming out of it. Nout! Ah, petrol. Right, so we must have had the wires on the wrong way around. Yeah, that's it, good, we've got fuel. So let's put this on before we have an accident. Right, so now we have the pipe going to the engine from the filter off. Well, we have fuel on the floor. That's a start, isn't it? Wasn't exactly gushing out though. Wonder what it's like if I take the filter off completely. It should come out like wee wee now. It's coming out, but I can't bloody see. It's not exactly earth shattering, is it? Should have more pressure than that. I think it's about £30, isn't it? £35. I don't know. There can't be a blockage in the pipe. I think we'll get a proper pump. I've got a wondering if that one's off a V8 carburettor, very high volume, low pressure. I've no way of knowing because there's no markings on it. Ah, bugger it, let's get a proper pump. Then we'll know where we are.